Hi everyone, welcome back. My name's Sarah. I'm a junior doctor working near London, and yes, this is another video about running. Also, I have a very big announcement, so stick around to the end of the video for that. After I published the running 5K video, I received lots of heartwarming messages from people who related to a lot of the struggles that I went through and found that it really motivated them to start their fitness journey or their running journey. This made me incredibly happy and made sharing the struggles worth it. So in this video, I want to share 3 main tips that I wish I knew as a beginner runner. If you haven't watched the video I made about how to run a 5K, I do recommend that because I go through a structured approach and talk about how to tackle the biggest barriers to running. So I'll leave a link down below if you're interested in that. Also, I have a very big announcement, so stick around to the end of the video for that. I do put timestamps in all of my videos down below, so if you're really impatient, you can skip ahead. But I strongly recommend that you hear me out because these 3 tips had a huge impact on my running. Point number 1 is never miss a warm-up. I'm going to be honest, to me, warming up used to be a waste of time. I figured I was already making an effort to run, so I didn't have to do that extra effort to warm up. That is, until I injured myself. I was using the Nike training plan and was on a high. I was running about 4 to 5 times a week and really doing well, feeling motivated. I was going running one morning and it was very cold. I got up, got changed and just went outside and started running. Now I don't run very fast, but I didn't warm up at all. And within about a couple of minutes, I felt my ankle seizing up and I knew that something was off. I tried to run it off a little bit and managed to go halfway through my run until I thought it'd be more sensible to go home and give it a rest. The next day, I had the fantastic idea of going on another run. And I got 5 minutes in before I was practically hobbling and hopping on one foot, and I had to walk back home because I couldn't run anymore on that ankle. It took about 2 to 3 weeks before I could properly start running again, and in that time I did lots of warm-ups, lots of stretching, lots of mobility exercises for it to heal. It was incredibly frustrating. Having an injury and having to stop your running routine makes it really tough because you lose your stride, your consistency, your motivational high that you worked so hard on building. Honestly, it's not worth it, so just do it. Never miss a warm-up before a run. Just warm up a couple of minutes before. It doesn't need to be long. I'll put some links down below of some easy warm-ups that you can do before a run or any workout routine for that matter. These are quick and effective warm-ups. And honestly, 2 to 5 minutes of a warm-up before a run is much better than having to take weeks off your workout plan. On that note, when you start a regular running plan like the Couch to 5K or the Nike app that I mentioned in my last video, rest days are equally important. You'll see them included in any decent training plan. Your body needs rest to recuperate. Running every single day is basically like consistently missing out on your sleep because you have lots to do, and as a consequence you start having less focus, less motivation, less concentration, and it's just very counterproductive. Instead, if you let your body sleep or if you take those days off, you give your body the time to recuperate and your runs will be far more effective and injury-free. You can use those days as you wish. You can do some stretching, go for a walk, whatever you prefer, but give your body a rest from that particular exercise that you regularly do. So before we even talk about our action plan, we want to reduce friction. So essentially that means that you want to make whatever action you're trying to achieve, in this case running, you want to make that as easy as possible for you. So reduce the friction to get to that action. So this is going to look slightly different depending on your living circumstances, etc. But here are a few things that worked for me. I found that running as soon as I woke up in the morning was really helpful. Because I still have a very big mental block when it comes to running, I found that waking up and going for a run straight away reduces the chance of me convincing myself that I'm not going to go for that run, because your brain gets very creative when they don't want to do something, and it's happened to me time and time again. Treat your brain like a child. Make sure you've prepped all your clothes the night before, you've got your trainers ready, leave the door of your bedroom open, anything to make the path in the morning to getting from your bed to outside and running as smooth as possible. The second part of this is, whilst you're reducing friction to do that unpleasant thing that you're going to do, which is the running, you want to make it as enjoyable as possible. So you're trying to amp up the pleasure and reduce the pain as much as possible. It can be really nerve-wracking when you start running in the beginning because you're self-conscious and you don't know what you're doing. So I found it's really helpful to plan your route as well. It might be boring to redo the same route again and again, but when you're starting off, we're all focused on reducing friction as much as possible. So if you don't have to worry about where you're going to run, that's one less thing on your mind that's going to stop you you from running. Again, this is very personal and can be extremely variable depending on the person. One thing that made running really difficult for me in the beginning and pretty unpleasant were my workout clothes. Now I'm talking about this because I know that whatever you may choose to wear when you're running, especially if you're starting off, you may feel quite self-conscious. And I think workout clothes are a really big factor in that. As you can see, I choose to wear a hijab, and this is what I wear when I'm running. I'm actually really happy with this, and it took me a while to find something I'd be comfortable running in. And I know for a lot of hijabis, and especially for women who choose to dress more modestly, it can be really difficult to find workout gear that's appropriate and something that you feel comfortable in, and to find workout clothes that suit your needs. When I started running, I basically wore a long hoodie with a normal headscarf that I would wear to work or to uni, and it just wasn't ideal. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, and it just didn't feel comfortable running in those clothes. I knew that it was an important factor that made running unpleasant for me, so I knew that I had to focus on that to make running more enjoyable, and I spent some time trying to find a comfortable headscarf that was breathable and some workout clothes that I was comfortable running in. And it took a while, but I managed to find that, and honestly it made the run so much more enjoyable because I wasn't focused on how I looked or how uncomfortable I was. And so that's one thing for me that made it a more pleasurable experience. So whatever it is for you, think of something that would make your run more enjoyable and focus on trying to improve that. Some other ideas are planning a really nice route. So maybe you can find a scenic route that's not far from your house, which makes running more enjoyable. Another thing that has made running a lot more pleasurable for me has been discovering podcasts and audiobooks. I was trying to find something that would distract me enough from the initial pain of running, but that would also be sort of monotonous enough so that I could keep a certain pace and not be too affected by what I was listening to. And I started listening to Tim Ferriss's podcast and some history podcasts as well, and it was great. I would listen to it at 1.5 or ×2 speed. And it was really interesting, and I'd come back from a run being really proud of myself from having done that run and also having learnt something in the process. I'm not sponsored by anyone, but I really do enjoy Tim Ferriss's podcast because certain speakers raised some very, very interesting points and got me thinking about a lot of things. It might even be where I heard about the topic of identifying yourself as a runner just by running. So that's something I really recommend. I also started to listen to audiobooks, which I find is great when you're running. So those are some things that made running less painful and, dare I say, more enjoyable for me. Find what works for you and add those to your routine to make it something that you can keep doing in the long term. On that note, I would like to make an announcement. So as I've told you, I've not been running for very long. I'd say it's been since last September that I've started running consistently a couple of times a week, and it's gotten to a point now where it's become a habit and it's part of my routine. I've been able to remain consistent with it over the weeks, and I had the genius idea of biting the bullet and signing up for the London Marathon. Now, this is something that a couple of years ago I thought, what a dream, wouldn't that be amazing? And I had a few friends who did it as well, and I found it incredibly inspiring, but I never ever thought that I'd be able to do it. It's only been about a year now that I thought, what if I did run a marathon? Technically, I think I'm physically able to do it. I think it would be a really big mental exercise. Just like running a 5K was an exercise of mental self-discipline to show myself that if I put my mind to something, I could do it. The marathon to me was the next big beast. Running a marathon for me is the same idea, but just on a massive scale. Honestly, the idea both terrifies and excites me at the same time. I think more terrifies at the moment. I'll be running for Refugee Action, which is a charity organisation in the UK which has spent the last 35 years helping refugees settle into the UK and getting them back on their feet. I feel incredibly honoured to be able to run for them and fundraise for this charity. This marathon for me is going to be the ultimate physical, mental, emotional, everything you can think of challenge, and I'm ready to put in the hard work. If you would like to support this charity and help me along my crazy challenge, I've put a link down below for my fundraiser page where I'm trying to raise £2,000 for this charity. You can have a look at their website to see the work that they do, and no matter what you can spare, even if it's just £1, I really do appreciate it, and so does the charity. I really hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments down below what other challenges you have when it comes to sports, or in particular running. I would appreciate it if you share with a friend who's interested in running or who's thinking of starting a fitness routine. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!